This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 282 of the Dressage Radio Show on the Horse Radio Network, brought to you by TotalSaddleFit.com and Easy Signs Online.
This is Reese Koffler-Stanfield from Georgetown, Kentucky.
And this is Philip Parks from Fergus, Ontario, and you're listening to the Dressage Radio Show with our producer, Glenn. Again, we're so privileged.
2 weeks in a row.
Oh my gosh.
2 weeks. You
This is
write
so
that
exciting.
down, okay?
And you've had a busy day. It's like your fourth show of
That
the
is
day.
my fourth show, but then you guys ride 12 horses a day, so what I do is nothing.
It's just different. It's just different.
Yeah, it's all work. It's just different.
Yeah, just different work. Today for us, it was a beautiful day. It was 70 degrees. Sun was out. Trees are beautiful. So today was one of those days. It was pretty quiet here, and it was just me and my assistant riding. And wow, it was a nice day. I was like, this is pretty nice. I like this. So
It was one of those
Similar
rare
thing,
days when
actually.
it was cooler here than it was in Lexington.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, rare days. Beautiful here. And then Philip's up there and it's snowing already, I bet.
Probably.
Yeah.
No, come on. No, we had similar to Reese there. It was sunny and clear and nice, and the horses were feeling good, riders feeling good, having a nice day. So
Very cool.
Although, when's Nationals coming there to Lexington, Reese?
Nationals is it's in 2 weeks. So we are
So that means
fingers
torrential
crossed.
rains, tornadoes, and hurricanes.
Oh, well, we did have tornadoes. Actually, very scary. We don't normally have that kind of weather into the fall, and that happened on our anniversary. So I will not forget it for a while.
It got
And
pretty
it was-
close. There was one in Paris?
Yeah, we were in Paris when it happened. Yeah, we
Oh,
were
wow.
right by the. It was scary. I'm not gonna kid. I'm not. So anybody that has any weather
you see
that
the
goes
tornado?
through,
I saw videos of it.
it was scary. Yeah, it was it was literally 5 minutes from where we were having dinner. So
Oh,
we
wow.
won't forget. It wasn't the most romantic anniversary. I'm not going to lie. I was just like, I want to go. Oh, wait, we can't go. I want to go.
What'd you do on your anniversary? I was in the basement of a restaurant.
Yeah, basically kind of like
I was huddled in a corner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was under the
we were in a
table.
corner.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, can I have another beer? Like, let's just drink this one through. Yeah, it was scary. But we are very excited about having the Nationals here again this year. And actually, one of our listeners asked for some tips about coming to Lexington. And Glenn, you lived here. That's when I met you. So we thought that we would talk a little bit about, for everyone that's coming to Nationals, kind of some things to do while you're here. So, Glenn, do you want to start us off, or you want me to?
Well, do we want to start with food? Because that's where we always start, right? Yeah.
I mean, that's where you start and finish.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
That's all there is
Yes.
to it.
Food and drink. There's two things, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'd
That's
say
pretty much
do this
Kentucky.
after you ride. Do not do this before you ride because it's about 2,000 calories. And that is, if you have never done it, and it's a Lexington thing, or it's a Kentucky thing, you have to get a hot brown.
Kentucky Fried Chicken.
No.
Oh, well,
yeah,
we have
no,
that
no.
too,
We
but-
have that too. But
Sorry.
you have to get a hot brown at Ramsey's. Ramsey's Diner, there's not one downtown anymore, right? That one closed.
That's right. Mhm.
So they're on the
Sadly.
outskirts of town, right? There are several of them.
Yep.
And Ramsey's Diner, but by the way, anything you get at Ramsey's is good.
Excellent.
yeah.
All farm, local. It's a local chain, but it's just for
Southern
Lexington.
food, you can get catfish. I mean, it's all Southern cooking. But the hot brown, I can't describe a hot brown. It's a whole pile of goop with cheese on it, and
No, it's
about
I will help you.
2,000 calories.
Goop?
It is.
I
It
don't
is
wanna eat
not.
goop.
It's a open
good
face
goop.
sandwich, turkey sandwich, that has bechamel sauce. It has cheese, tomato, country ham. You can get it with country ham or regular ham. It is not a heart healthy dish,
No.
but I only have one a year. That's how bad it is for you.
But it is
it's in
damn good. Oh,
It is good.
tasty.
And then have that with a little bourbon to cut it. Oh, it is pretty.
But then
that's-
you could cover a dirty shoe with that much cheese and it'd be good. I mean,
it is. It is good. It is a very good dish. So Ramsey's is great, and it's actually, like I said, farm fresh and local. Lexington actually has a ton of local restaurants. It's something that we're known for here. Actually, funny enough, we have chain restaurants, but a lot of them are local. So another local
Yeah.
chain.
Don't eat the chains. Don't eat the
Don't eat chains because we have
Totally
a lot
not
of
worth it.
cool. Yeah, a couple of cool restaurants that we have, and they're a couple different. Are Malone's. That's a very nice steakhouse to come to. Then there's a restaurant called Saul Good. There's two of those in town. Saul Good. Those are excellent. Good place for, no, there are 3. There's some downtown. Downtown Lexington has a lot of fun restaurants. Saul Good is
a
down
fun
there.
atmosphere, hey?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
We were
you
down
go
there
and walk
watching the bikers roll by.
Yep. We always take Philip down there, and Philip
That's
likes the Village Idiot. There's a great place called the Village Idiot that has a great burgers there. Shakespeare and Company. There's a Table 310, Dudley's. So a lot of local restaurants downtown. It's very close to the horse park. I recommend that people stay either. I'm going to get the exit wrong, but I think it's exit 115. There's a Marriott there, an Embassy Suites there, a Clarion, a Sheridan Four Points. I think a Marriott Fairfield Inn. That's a great place because really from there, 10 minutes is literally downtown Lexington. So you're very close to that. The other place is Georgetown to stay, which is one exit up on the highway on 75. It's good.
We've eaten dinner with Reese many times at a lot of these places.
Mm-hmm.
And one other one I want to throw in there is Bourbon and Toulouse.
Yes.
Great Cajun food. Some of the best Cajun food I've ever had, actually, is at that place. And they do take out. You can take it back to your you can take it back to your hotel. But the jambalaya, just everything there is good.
It's also downtown.
Yep. And then one other place, too, if you're going to make another day of it and you have never been out to Shaker Village, it is worth the trip. It's about 20 miles south of town.
Right.
Through some beautiful countryside.
Gorgeous.
In Kentucky. But it's actually a Shaker Village, a reenactment of a Shaker Village that was there. And it's just fun to go see, and it's historical. And it's just, we used to like going down there. The restaurant used to be good years ago, then we had some bad experiences.
So I ate there about 6 months ago, and it's just a fun experience.
Yes. I wouldn't say the food is it's a B minus, but it's a fun experience there, and it is just fun to see. So, if you want to have an experience that if you have an extra day in town, that's the one of the things. And of course, any of the distilleries that are within 20 minutes of
send husbands and spouses and anybody that's there that doesn't want to stay around the horse show for your ride. The distilleries are really
Which one
fun.
do you like? I like Woodford Reserve simply because the drive out there is through horse country is beautiful. Yeah.
Well, I have to be honest. I mean, living here my whole life, when Philip and Meredith came to visit last year, when Philip comes, it's great because we actually sometimes we work horses and sometimes we just do touristy things. And that was the first time in my life I'd ever been to a distillery, sadly enough.
Really?
Yeah. I take that back. I went once in college to Wild Turkey for a field trip.
I don't know if Wild Turkey counts.
A college.
Yeah. Well, for me, I was an agriculture economics major, so in college. So that does it's a huge economic impact with the bourbon industry here. So it was a legit field trip. We weren't able to taste. I was 21, but it was a school sponsored event, so bummer. But no, it's really fun. And downtown, we have new distilleries as well.
Alltech has their brewery downtown, right?
Alltech has their brewery, and then there's West 6 Brewery that's downtown, also very close to the horse park, literally within 15 minutes of the horse park. So lots of fun stuff.
Well, and let's be cultural now and get off of booze and food. Is the bookstore that had all the horsey books still in town?
We have a wonderful bookstore. It's called Joseph Best.
That's it. Yep.
Okay. Bookstore. That's wonderful. It's beautiful. It's a 3-story bookstore. It's really a fun
experience. Had a lot of horse books and books about
local books
about the farms in the area and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's a really fun place to go. And then Keeneland Racecourse. We have Keeneland Racecourse, and then Fasig-Tipton that are fun to visit for horsey.
Keeneland racing now?
Keeneland is in session now. I don't think when Nationals is here. I don't think in a couple of weeks it's going.
Next week,
mostly
maybe.
October.
Yeah.
But to go to the racetrack
early in the morning. You can still go in. I've done this before. I've gone early in the morning and seen them breeze. Yep. They're still working on the track, right?
Yep, that's right.
Yes.
You can go and watch them breeze and watch the training riders chase them around. It's kind of it's kind of a fun experience. If you have a nice day, it'll be
at one of the most beautiful racetracks in the country.
It's so beautiful,
world,
and when
really.
the sun comes up, 6:30, something like that in the morning, and you watch the horses run. It's pretty cool.
It's very cool, and there's a track kitchen actually can go eat
Yeah.
eat breakfast with everybody who works at the track. It's a lot of
It's
fun.
not a
And
bad
you hear 'em.
breakfast either,
No, it's not a bad
kind of
breakfast. It's
greasy
a really
spoon,
fun
but
thing.
it's good, you know.
And just
Good
farm
point.
tours. I know I looked it up a little bit when I was getting ready for the show. They have some tours leaving from the horse park for all the spouses or anybody that would like to go. And there's some farm tours, and take advantage, because you can't just drive up to some of these thoroughbred farms and just knock on the door. You actually have to be able to get in.
Be an organized thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
And really, really fun. I mean, to go see a thoroughbred farm is amazing. So I would also recommend that to go and do that. So lots of things to do here in Lexington. Lots of fun stuff. Philip and Meredith love to come and visit, and we love to have them. And like I said, that's when I actually go do fun things here in town. But we have a lot of fun things to do here, and they're very horsey and very cultural, and we're very proud as Kentuckians to show them off. So please feel free if you have any questions. You know my email, reese@horseradionetwork.com, and I'm happy to answer any question that I can, and about the area, and we're very proud of it. And if there's anything I can do to help make your trip more fun, let me know. So.
Well, guys, I got to bring up something here. We have nationals coming, and apparently the USDF is now celebrating cultural diversity, because not only do we have a dollar horse who Hillary's going to be on the show tonight. Her horse is ending up going, but we have a mule and also some thoroughbreds. We got all kinds of diversity at the nationals this year.
Yeah, this is what's fun about the national finals that I can already see, just even from my own business. Personally, I have a rider, Jill Stowe, who's a professor at the University of Kentucky. She's going on her horse Dundee, who's an off-the-track thoroughbred. And Laura Phillips, who's been on the show. Yeah. And Laura Phillips, who's been on the show before on Marciello, is going on a 21-year-old and doing the Prix St. George. So very
all shapes
unexpected.
and sizes and ages.
Well, this
expensive horses, not expensive horses,
right?
And a mule. I'm stuck on
and
a mule because this is the first time ever that a mule will be going. It's owned by Laura Hermanson. She's out of California, Madera, California, and she's been training and working with this mule for over 10 years. And she's actually on the board of directors of the American Mule Association. And so she earned scores up to 75%, and at the local, state, and regional championships. And they invited her to come and compete. I don't know what level she's at. I don't see that in here, but you'll see. She'll be the only mule. Really cute mule too.
Yeah,
very cute.
Lovely photo. I mean, we've added it to the show notes here. I think this is really a good-looking mule for sure.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
That's exciting. That's fun.
Yeah. So anything that brings a little excitement to the show will be good.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And if you have your own story, send us a little note or something on the Facebook page. We'll, we'd love to spread the news about people's successes and fun tidbits of information about everybody that's going to be going to the national show. I think, it's pretty awesome to bring everybody together.
I think it is, and I think just hearing everybody's story, and we want to share it. So please feel free to send it to us, and we will give you a shout out here on the air. So Philip, we've got a little news this week. What's in the news?
I thought this is a little bit of a cool story, not specifically dressage, but the first American-born stallion was approved at the 2014 Trakehner Verband inspection in Neumünster, Germany. So an American-bred and full Trakehner stallion, Davidas, jumped his way into the history books last weekend when he was approved as a premium stallion by the Trakehner Verband in northern Germany. He was also named Best Jumper of the inspection, earning his breeder-owner, Dr. Margaret McGregor of Holders Hill, Auburn, Illinois. She won an engraved vase for the honor of the best jumper stallion. So that's a great piece of press and a pat on the back to the U.S. breeders. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was awesome. I'm glad we put that in. That is fabulous because as a breeder, it is so hard. And so I think anytime you get a shout out, that's pretty phenomenal. Yeah. And also, Edward Gall and Glock's Undercover, they produced their best score of an 84% at the Grand Prix on Saturday at the World Cup Western League Indoor Winter Circuit. So I thought that was pretty cool. And 84.1%, that is his highest score on that particular horse. So that was really cool.
Pretty
So
awesome.
to
Yeah,
see,
we're gonna be watching the World Cup dressage circuit because, as everybody knows, it's being held in Las Vegas. So we'll hopefully see all of these amazing European horses come over and compete for the World Cup title.
we're ready.
Yeah,
I'm
awesome.
excited.
We're ready.
We're ready. Philip and I
Yeah,
would
I
go
think
tomorrow. Our spouses are coming too. So we're ready for a big time.
Yeah, big
Absolutely.
dressage extravaganza.
An extravaganza. We're looking forward to it.
Nice.
Well, right after this commercial break, we're going to come back with our favorite segment of the month with Hillary Moore Hebert, contributing editor of Dressage Today.
This week's EasySignsOnline.com spotlight product is their New England Style Farm Signs, their most popular line of signs. New England Style Farm Signs are very durable and designed for long-term outdoor use with no maintenance required, no wood to rot, and no paint to peel. They will outlast the old style painted wood signs by many, many years. They are available in many sizes, shapes, and styles, which makes them the perfect sign for any farm or business. Go online today and go through the EasySignsOnline.com easy step-by-step ordering process to see all the prices and options available. They also offer free, no-obligation sign proofs on all New England-style signs, and you get free shipping as well on all New England-style signs. So replace your old worn-out sign and make a great first impression with a new farm sign from EasySignsOnline.com. And the holidays are right around the corner, so it's a terrific gift idea. I can't think of a better one. Visit EasySignsOnline.com.
Well, this evening we are on with Hillary Moore Hebert, contributing editor to Dressage Today. We love having her on. It's our favorite segment of the month. Hillary, how are you doing?
I am doing fantastic. How are you
Well,
guys?
to start, we're great. And to start off this segment, we at the Horse Radio Network have to congratulate you on your hugely successful fall. And you are qualified to come here to Lexington to the national finals.
Yes.
That is so cool. Congratulations.
Yeah, I'm very excited. And
Which level will you be riding? If people
we're
want to see
doing
your show, yeah.
So I think it's on Sunday, but don't quote me. It's the 4th level freestyle. And I just want to give a shout out to Beth Hall, because I'm embarrassed to say that my freestyle, I am like a massive freestyle rookie. I did it. The last time I did it is when I did the pre-St. George freestyle. Do you guys remember when that existed for young riders?
Yes, it did.
That's the last time I did a freestyle. So at GAGS, I actually earned my silver bar. So that's how inexperienced. Yeah. And Beth Hall, she makes these really cool like pre-made freestyles. I don't know if you guys have ever gone to her website, but if you know your horse's beats per minute, you can kind of get a pre-packaged one, which I did, and it cost me $200, and I went out and I did the thing twice, and it was really fun. And so I was kind of just going about my business doing it. And then the third time it kind of hit reality, because there I was at regional championships with this freestyle I'd done 2 times. And a lot of the other people in my class are like in the top 15, 20 in the country for ranking. And theirs are way more impressive than mine are. So we just tried to get the technical side really together, and we ended up getting a wild card spot. So to be honest, I am frantically putting together one right now, and I have a different freestyle for 2 weeks from now, I guess, 3 weeks from now, that I'm going to be practicing frantically between now and then.
I bet.
Well, good luck.
Yeah, I can't. I'm going to be there to cheer you on.
I'm very excited to come. I think it maybe takes somewhere between, I've heard 9 hours, I've heard 12 hours, but it's going to be a hike. So we're looking forward to it, but I will be happy when we are physically there on the showgrounds.
Yeah, it's about 12 hours for you, I think, ish. It's a haul. But we're
it'll be
excited.
worth it. But it'll be worth it.
And we are so excited to have everybody here in Lexington. It's a great time to be here. And we really have a show we're talking a lot about the national finals this episode. And we will also next episode to kind of tell people a little bit about what's going to happen. And it should be a lot of fun. So I can't wait to see you and cheer you guys on. And then we'll definitely have to get your whole wrap up after the show is over for sure.
Right. And I had another question before we get started.
Mm-hmm.
Last week you can come on, Hillary, because you were at the BLM Championships. Correct?
Yes.
What is that?
So, if you are awesome and you live in a cool place like we do, there's a second championships because one is not enough for us, and Devon is definitely not enough. So we need to also go out and do another thing on top of it. So I was in Lexington, Virginia. And it's the Colonel Bent Lundquist Memorial Championships, and you have to be a member of a participating GMO. And there's even some people who are like up from Florida all the way, up to New England. So it's kind of a speckled group of people from the East Coast, and it's really cool. Instead of the third test of the level that you need to do for regionals, it's the second test. So I did my fourth level 2 test, the fourth level freestyle, and then the pre-St. George. And we did qualify for the intermediate, but we can't do more than the 2 consecutive levels. So we chose to do that so we could do the freestyle as well. And it's a lot of fun. It's sort of a different group of people. Some people are resting from gags. Other people only qualified for one or the other if they prefer a test. So it was a lot of fun. And the whole weekend is kind of Halloween themed. So it's a little bit, like more, I wouldn't say lighthearted, but there was like a dog costume contest where there was like cash prizes for that and stall decorating. So it just is a nice way to end the season, I think, for everyone who's in the Maryland area to do that. So we also did that and had a quite successful weekend as well there.
Very good. Cool.
Yeah, you've been nonstop with horse showing.
Yeah.
We're getting all our news from you. It's amazing.
You're at every championships.
And it's been a lot of resting. The horse that I'm obviously taking, the $1 horse that I don't know if everyone's been hearing about him, but my trainer bought him for $1. And right now we're giving him just a week of really, really relaxed turnout and recovery so that we can take him down for that 1 fourth level class at nationals. But I'm certainly not going to be like signing up for the entire show, trying to do pre-St. George classes every day going up to it. We're really trying to just keep him, in one piece, strong and fit and not get him hurt or anything. So that's been the main focus between the shows, is doing that.
Well, and I think that that's a really good point. We always need a rest and to compete. And you guys have been going. You went from Devon to the regional finals, to the BLM finals, now to the nationals. And a lot of people are now in that same ball game. And kind of, you have to let them down a little bit before a big national finals. I think if you don't, I think you're saying it. They can get hurt. They get mentally fried. So I think that's always something you should think about before a big final. So that's really cool that you guys are doing that.
Yeah, and I think, it takes the guidance of someone like, in my case, my trainer, Yana. It takes someone very experienced to make sure that they are looking out for the best interest of you and your horse. You can definitely see it. I mean, we didn't have a plan coming out of Devon. We left late Sunday night after awards, and we had to be in North Carolina, 7 hours away, for a Thursday morning pre-St. George championship. He didn't do anything but just got worked, in like a trot stretchy and really get him loosened up. But we weren't drilling anything. As soon as we got to the showgrounds, it was just light work, and he did his class. But that was really the first time I picked him up and rode him in what you'd sort of consider a show frame, since we left Devon and did our class Sunday morning. And then you could see he definitely had more energy and was fresher for his freestyle class on Saturday night, because I didn't do anything from Thursday morning till Saturday evening, but just loosening work. I didn't do any classes or anything. And I had the expectation that he would be better for that. You can't really say I'm going to take a horse to Devon and be expecting that Thursday morning's championship class is going to be getting you the highest score of your entire season. So, it's just managing expectations and also your mental health, your horse's mental health, and both of your physical health as well.
No, I think you're so right. So, Hillary, this is so exciting, the news that you have. So let's get started on our tips for the month.
Yeah, so I wanted to talk to you guys because we have covered a lot of the stuff in the October issue already, but there's a great article about the power of partnerships with Boyd and Silva Martin, and there's an online extra that I think would be great for everyone to look at that's about syndications. But it got me thinking just about the overall concept of giving back, and especially because I'm really doing nothing but thinking about this end to the competition season. The only thing I've been doing besides just letting Willie down and relaxing him and everything has been doing a lot of media coverage. And the local newspaper came and did a story about us going to nationals. And I thought that it was just going to be like in the sports section because they're between seasons right now. But we actually ended up as the lead story in the local newspaper on the front cover. And wow. I think that, it's important for us to think about giving back in ways that we can. And I think that it's very important to consider that we are representatives of the sport. And so I try to do media like that, probably sometimes more so than some of the other just equine-only publications, because I think it's important for people to see that this is a sport that is popular in, North America, not just Europe, and get people educated. And I think that you can give back by either having coverage in your local sports section. Some other examples of giving back would be, how Yana has been letting me ride Willie instead of herself because she's, shown several horses to FEI. She has her own stallion going right now. And it's just doing what you can with your resources. And I thought it would be neat to kind of ask you guys how you personally give back to the sport, because I know you certainly do. And I thought it would be kind of neat to hear so that people listening might come up with their own ideas of how they can give back as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's always something, that Philip and I both talk about in work. I'm also like Yana. A lot of times I have a horse. For example, my assistant showed my young horse. She doesn't have a horse showing right now. And she's done a super job cruising him around the show. We take working students a lot of times and, I teach them a ton. I'm really make sure that they get their lessons. And so I do my part or try to do my part as much as I can that way. I like to host our local pony club and the UK dressage team here at the farm. We do a clinic and sort of make a day of it. And that's, again, really fun because I have the facility and I love to share it. And then I'm also the co-president of Masterson Equestrian Trust. So I've been the president for this year, and it's been a really fun experience. It's my first time as a president of a nonprofit. And thankfully, I do have a co-president with Mary Fike, who's a phenomenal person. The park is, there's an equestrian facility. It's a city park, And we make sure we maintain, there's a cross-country course, there's a dressage, there are 5 dressage pads, there's a hunter jumper course, and there's an indoor arena at the park, and everyone can come and ride there for free. So that's been really fun. I've enjoyed that.
Yeah, you gave me a tour of it last time I was down.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Really neat.
Yeah, it's a neat place.
Yeah, a really unique space that everybody can use, and it was a really great idea.
Yeah,
but it needs to be continually run and upgraded and doing stuff. So people have to volunteer to do that. Otherwise, this stuff doesn't happen out of the sky, right?
Right, exactly. And so that's been a lot of fun. I mean, it's a lot of work. Anybody that does volunteer work, it's a lot. And then we also have a lot of shows here. And so to try and volunteer with your local organization to help with the horse show, a lot of times I can't help during the show just because that's a huge time for our business. But there's always stuff that can be done before or after. So I try to do that too. I always wish I had more time in the day to help, but I think anything like that, and I really try when I'm at a horse show that knowing that everybody's volunteering to be there. So to thank your ring stewards and to thank the guys that are picking up the trash and thank the guys that are, or ladies that are harrowing the arena. I think that's all something that we can do as competitors to give back to the sport and thank everyone for being there. So those are a couple things that I do. Philip, how about yourself?
Yeah, I'm, well, let's think. President of the local dressage club. We do mostly the running of kind of a local series of shows. We have 4 shows over the season. That's kind of grassroots level. And anyone can kind of come, enter and show. And we have a lot of beginner riders and people just getting into dressage, and some other riders that can still show in the upper levels but don't have a ton of money to go to the national circuit and be at a show for 4 days. Just a one-day show. We have a great group of volunteers that get together. We get together. It's not a lot, once a month just to talk about that. And then we have prizes at the end of the year, and we try and hold at least one clinic with a good clinician, with a Grand Prix rider that comes in and anybody can ride, and we try and keep the costs low and very reasonable, because that's the biggest thing, in this sport, and the biggest complaint. But, as we're seeing today, Hillary's riding a $1 horse. I was talking to Reese earlier about horses that she's sending to nationals that aren't, these really expensive imported warm bloods. So I think, personally, I try and, help everybody with no matter what horse they have, and also keep my, fees reasonable. I travel quite a bit, and, not just in my area, but, travel 2-3 hours, on weekends to have, instruction for people. And again, keeping the cost reasonable, so that I think part of it is, you want to have a nice horse, but even with a nice horse, if you can't get quality instruction, or some way to get help with that horse, you're not going to go anywhere either. So that, from my perspective, that I try and do that and really work on a grassroots basis, towards getting more people involved and stuff like that. But Hillary, you were talking about garnering some publication and getting people involved that way. How does somebody do that? Get their local paper out to see a show or get involved in dressage?
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say, is sort of to challenge everyone listening to just do that once, because I think that especially as it gets to the winter and things are quieting down, it's very easy to do this. And here's all you need to do. And email will work. You can also call, but usually they prefer to have it in email so that they can pass it around the news office. But when I worked at a newspaper, back in the day as my first job, it was pretty standard for people to just send like a little quick email that the subject was interesting, almost like what you would think of as like the lead of the story. And then it's just a little bit of information. It doesn't have to be some fancy press release. And I actually would suggest not to send a photo attachment, because it will clog everything up and be harder to do. But you could send like a little link if you had a picture or something on Facebook even. You could just send the little link at the bottom, but identify it and say link to photo. But what you want to do is send them stories that you would find interesting. And, for example, they're sort of the easy ones. I was on the cover of the newspaper for a $1 show horse heads to nationals. But you can also just call the sports section of your local newspaper, and anytime you do anything, it's the same as someone who's playing football or baseball or swimming or whatever. Call them and say, hey, I went to this local show. It doesn't matter if it's a schooling show. You just call them and you say, I went to this local show and I got first and second place in my class, and I live in town, and I just wanted to let you know that I had this success. and I just wanted to pass it along. And after a while, things, may be more interesting or less interesting, but the sports department and your local newspaper will start to pay attention to you. And there can be times where if they start to see emails from you, they can kind of keep it in mind. But I've even had the local newspaper call me to ask about stuff because they are interested in, we have the Washington International Horse Show that's in town this week right now, and they'll call me and say, hey, do you know of anything that might tie into Germantown where I live that could relate to that? And they kind of are seeking me out as an expert then. But it's really easy. I mean, it's just, if you figure local newspapers are probably the best way to do it. Same thing if you have local, like a radio talk station, or if you have a local TV, it's mostly just a matter of calling them and touching base and letting them know the story. But no story is too small, whether it's that you, leased out a barn that hasn't been cleaned up or used for 10 years, and you cleaned it up and you have 5 horses in there now and you're showing, even if you're not doing necessarily particularly well because it's, a new business, just the fact that you're kind of bringing a new business to town and it's interesting and unique, that in and of itself can be enough. And, maybe you do like a little charity fundraiser or something like that. Think about things that are just interesting, and it's very easy to get coverage.
And that makes sense. I mean, I think Philip and I can tell you from doing the show, there are times where you really need content. And so to have somebody that you can go to is even more helpful. And I can imagine that print is the same.
Yeah. And I think it's the same, I think also coming from the perspective of Dressage Today, and I'm sure for you guys, it's the same thing. It's pitching stories, and pitching more stories. Is if you have ideas for stuff, whether it's the local newspaper or the radio for you guys or for Dressage Today, it's just finding one of the editors or one of the hosts and just sending them ideas. No one's going to send you back a nasty email. They'll either probably, just ignore you, or they'll pass it on. And it's just something that they keep in their folder of ideas. So it can never hurt to do that.
Absolutely. No story is too small, or, that sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
Because it might tie into something else, right? That they'll use it as a little side story or something like that, right? I mean,
exactly. Like you have someone who, is maybe doing something and they need a little sidebar story about someone who does dressage because it relates to, here would be an example actually, is we got a lot of mention of dressage in the Washington Post because they did an article because we bought one of the dairy barns in the area and we couldn't salvage the bank barn because it was knocked off of its foundation during that freak earthquake that we had a couple years ago. And they were looking for coverage about stuff related to the earthquake and damage it did. They were also looking and interested in covering stuff related to agriculture and what was happening to Maryland's agricultural area. And so I had mentioned that we were using the old timbers to rebuild a great room. A guy was paying us to get the timbers to rebuild a great room in the Hamptons. And it kind of hit 5 interesting things for them. But in the end, the story really was about the business and the dressage aspect of it, because that's why the whole thing came to fruition. But to me, it was really exciting just to have the word dressage mentioned in the Washington Post because it gets the word out there about our sport. And, it's not like we are football or baseball. We definitely don't have the same audience size. So it's always great, I think, to figure out ways to do that.
Very cool. Excellent. So Hillary, what do we have next?
So the other thing I wanted to talk about was giving back, but not in a way related to just the sport, but how to use the sport to give back to the community. And I have always tried to be involved in charitable things. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the PVDA Ride for Life, but it's a big breast cancer fundraiser for Johns Hopkins that the GMO that I belong to has done for years, and we usually bring in somewhere between $60,000 and $80,000 a year for Johns Hopkins, but it's all related to a dressage show. But I think it's important for us to recognize that we are in a sport that does have privilege, and how to use that to our advantage. And one thing that I'm definitely planning on doing over the winter with the freestyle that I put together is doing some sort of charity where we can become performers in order to raise money. And I think that it's important to think about things, whether it's in the sport of dressage, but also things related to people who are less fortunate or things in your community that are in need of help. But I think it's important to think about ways, for example, Reese, the program that you're involved in having, I guess, the showgrounds or whatever you would call maintained, thinking about it from a perspective outside of dressage and sort of saying, okay, this is also really great for the agricultural keeping the agricultural side of things the way that they are and making sure that things don't get overdeveloped. So I just was wondering if you guys had some other ideas of, ways that you can use dressage to give back to other aspects of the community outside the sport.
Yeah, no, it's true. And we do a lot of those type of activities out at Masterson. For example, we have a hunter pace. I actually did not know what a hunter pace was. I'm still a little fuzzy on what that is. But it's basically, you can come out and you can jump a lot of the jumps, or you can come out and just have a nice ride. And all of the money goes toward our park and to the foundation, but we will then distribute it just to the equestrian side of the park. And it is a lot of fun to be a part of those. We laugh a lot. It's a lot of fun, and the park sort of gets cleaned up as we do it. And then we also donate to the riding program that happens at the park. And that's a program that people can come and anybody in the city can come and ride. And it's very, very affordable. And it's a great way to get people sort of started in the industry if they're interested. So it's not dressage per se, but it's fun to bring your dressage horses out and get all dressed up. And we always go as dressage queens, which is lots of fun. So that's something that we do. And certainly I have had the privilege to ride with the Lexington Philharmonic. I did my freestyle. This was many years ago now, actually, but it was to benefit Kentucky Educational TV. And it was a big fundraiser for KET, and it was really amazing to ride to a full orchestra. At the time, my freestyle was to the Ode of Joy, so that was pretty awesome experience. That I used that freestyle. I had to work with the Philharmonic, which was quite an interesting. I thought we were divas, but musicians are really divas. I decided, they had to take a break, and I was like, my horse is ready. Like, we can't take a break. So that was an interesting, but we raised quite a lot of money. We raised, I think, over $100,000 during that whole dinner and for KET. So lots of fun ways to raise money. So those are a couple of things that we do that using dressage or just horse sport in general to educate the community and have a good time. So,
yeah, I mean, in our area, there's a horse show sponsors breast cancer. Everything raised by the show, goes towards that fund. And they a little bit like they do in Florida. They put on some freestyles, some costume style freestyles. Kind of in a smaller way than they do at the WEF complex, but. Really a fun idea. Anybody can come out, and it's, dressage, the freestyles is what, really can bring the public in, because people want to see that side of it, and it can be really fun, and it gets people out to donate money to the Breast Cancer Foundation. And if you're thinking about, what would interest people, not just horse people, about dressage, I think that's it. And you can certainly, just like that Philharmonic thing you were talking about, you can certainly put on like an event or a show surrounded around, more entertainment than really, the scores and stuff like that. And people really enjoy it. And you can get people out to your farm or showgrounds or whatever. I mean, anything you can do to kind of organize that sort of thing. It can raise money. It can raise awareness. You can do a lot with that kind of stuff. So lots of fun ideas and things that can benefit communities and charities and things like that. So that's a very good point, Hillary. It's nice that you brought that up.
Well, Hillary, as always, thanks so much for coming on for our segment from Dressage Today. How do our listeners get a hold of you?
So they can visit us at dressagetoday.com, and while you're there, I really recommend that you enter the contest to get tickets to go to the World Cup in Las Vegas next year, because that is an absolute fantastic opportunity while you're there. So
and Vallegro's going, right?
Yeah,
the rumor sounds like everybody. It sounds like everyone is going, and it seems like a place that everyone should go, whether or not you win tickets or not. Just put other ones on standby, so in case you don't win, you can definitely go. But it sounds like Vallegro's going, and a bunch of other people too. And I even remember when I spoke with Matthias Rath probably 2 years ago, he talked about going to World Cup Las Vegas and made it sound like to him that was like the cream of the crop, best show he'd ever been to in his life. So, and just to spectate. And he said his goal from that point on was to come back and show in Las Vegas. So I don't know, what's happened after that, but it sounds as though the Europeans definitely are excited about World Cup being at Las Vegas.
This week's Dressage training tip is brought to you by Total Saddle Fit, home of the shoulder relief girth at TotalSaddleFit.com.
Well, Hillary was very easy to convince to stay on the line for our Total Saddle Fit tip of the week. So, Hillary, what's your trainer tip of the week for us this week?
So the trainer tip that I have is from Back to Front Explained. It's an article by Melissa Jackson that we have on the website right now, and you can read more if you look. But I thought this was really good. It's from training level to Grand Prix, the rider must always activate the hind legs first. This is accomplished by the rider using her seat and legs, asking the horse to move the hind legs forward and under the belly, then receiving that power in the hand. They must be mindful to never let the hand become stronger than the seat or to act with the hand first. And it's helpful to think of this as a line of electricity where the on switch is the hind legs, and that if the hand comes too strong, it's the off switch. And I thought that was a really neat tip.
Oh, that's a great visual. Can you say that one more time with the light switch?
Yes. The rider must be mindful never to let the hand become stronger than the seat or to act with the hand first. And it's helpful to think of this as a line of electricity where the on switch is the hind legs. And if the hands come too strong, it becomes the off switch and turns the power or the hind legs off.
You never flick the off switch, right?
Yeah. Well,
always keep
true.
Always keep the energy on.
I love it. Well, and we always talk about that, how important it is to keep the hind legs moving. And, that's such a great visual, is if you get too strong, boom, it's off. It's gone. You have to turn everything back on. So I think that that's a fantastic visual and thought.
Yeah. I was working with somebody this week on this sort of thing, and I said, it's particular with this horse, but I mean, he's a little bit lazy, and as they tend to be, and I said, well, it's better for the horse to have a little too much rhythm or a little bit too much pace than not enough. Mm-hmm. Right? If you're too strong with your hands, then you always have not enough, and you're always and with somebody else, they were just being too strong with their hands. And I said, well, that's why you have to push so much with your leg, because you're working too hard, because you got the contact on so strong all the time that the horse is always going like, should I stop? Should I stop? Should I stop? And you're going, go, go, go. Whereas if you just let go a little bit, let the horse go, and you don't, and then the horse was just cruising around going 10 times nicer just by getting a little freedom in the front end. So, always something to work on is are you working too hard because you're pulling too hard, and always having to remind the horse to stay forward, because you've got a little bit you're always turning him off, I guess, sort of thing, right?
Yeah. I think that's it's such a great way to think about it, and I think you're right. I think that the idea of having more energy or more activity, you're better off with that. Actually,
yeah,
you're much better off, and then your hands. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I think too, also, a lot of people, as they're learning the idea of connection, because it's what's in front of them, they think too much about the rein. And so it's easy not only to kind of, as Christoph Hess calls it, close the front door so that you can't, get through, but not only are they closing the door by taking too much contact, but sometimes, don't you notice, Philip, that it's, not that there's not necessarily enough activity behind, but there's not any awareness or paying attention to it at all, where you're kind of just riding the contact and you haven't even thought about what needs to be happening behind you.
Well, yeah, I mean, and I know, and for myself too, when I was learning to ride and learning about dressage, I mean, you see these really nice, what do we call it, headsets. Everybody's going for that headset in the beginning, and then, it takes a long time to really say that's, the look of the horse has nothing to do with how well it's working. It takes a really good rider, a good eye, and a good seat to feel, whether the horse is going. It's a lot easier to look down and say, okay, well, the nose is down, must be doing a good job. But I really try and instill in people that has nothing to do with what we're trying to achieve, And when you have a horse that is reactive off the leg and forward and energetic and showing himself off, then you get the nose coming down and you get submission and you get stuff like this. But if that's all you're thinking about during your whole ride is how low the head is and how slow and controlled, right? Again, that's another thing. Like dressage isn't about being slow, right? It's about being energetic and powerful and building muscles and so you don't do that by just poking around the arena with the head in the dirt. So all kinds of little concepts that we have to think of, and we have to. We all learn to ride in stages and getting the horse to accept the contact and lots of work on contact stuff is really important for sure, but it's not the most important thing. So make sure, everybody, that you just let the nose go sometimes and get that horse out in front of you. That's what I say.
Well done. Yeah, I completely agree with everything that you guys are talking about. And one of the things that I always say is the head is a symptom of what's happening behind. So if you feel the horse is getting strong up front, the issue is more than likely behind. It's not in the bridle. It's because the hind legs are, I like to say, they're in Texas. They're not underneath you. They're not coming from behind. So, we feel that the horse is strong, or we feel X or Y, but that probably isn't the root of the problem. So I think that's what I always say is let's find the root of the problem. What is the problem? And more than likely giving up front and activating the hind legs will solve a lot of the problems.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if the horse is strong, they'll get stronger because they're going to friggin' win. All right.
Yeah, exactly.
They look at the neck in front of you. Your two little arms are not going to do anything against that. So,
right.
Don't fight. Don't fight. Just find some energy. Find the solution somewhere else.
Exactly. Well, that was a great tip, Hillary. Thank you so much. I think that's such a good visual to think about the on switch and the off switch. Great one. So thank you so much for your time. How do our listeners find you online?
At dressagetoday.com and on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
This tip was brought to you by Total Saddle Fit, the shoulder relief girth that Reese and Philip both love. And here's why.
The saddle fit solution you have been waiting for is finally here. TotalSaddleFit.com is proud to introduce the Shoulder Relief Girth. This strategically shaped girth actually moves the girth line of your saddle back over 1 inch, thereby freeing your horse's shoulders from the saddle. Traditional girths pull saddles up against a horse's shoulders and often over the top of the shoulders. The shoulder relief girth's recessed ends allow for the billets to buckle into the girth farther back to give your horse unparalleled freedom of motion. We are so certain that your saddle will fit better and your horse will be more comfortable that for a limited time we are offering a 30-day, 110% money-back guarantee. If you are not totally satisfied with your shoulder relief girth, send it back for a full refund plus 10% of the purchase price. Don't wait. Order now for the best saddle fit solution available.
At TotalSaddleFit.com. Visit TotalSaddleFit.com.
Well, as always, we love having Hillary on and her training tips. She's phenomenal. I can't wait to see her and cheer her on. I will get some pictures for sure while she's here.
Well, we've also got a ton of emails and lots of great questions for the Total Saddle Fit contest question. You can send in, your question about saddle fit questions or tack fitting questions, stuff like this, into us, myself or Reese. And we're going to pick the best one and the best question from all the questions that we pick from. They're all going to get answered by Justin at some point. We've got lots, but, keep sending in more. And we're going to pick the best one. And the best one wins a free Total Saddle Fit shoulder relief girth. So we'll get what size, whatever size you need. And Justin will send that right out to you. I think we're going to pick it the first week of November. So we've got one more week to get in those questions. And think of a good one. Send it in. It'll be great. We love all the response that we've got so far, and we'd like a little bit more, so we have lots of great content for our shows and
that's
lots
worth
of
about
questions.
$150. So
yes, absolutely.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
We would love it.
It's well worth it. We love the girth.
We've already had great questions too. Like both Philip and I are like, oh my gosh, this is going to be tough on us, but we appreciate it and really excited for all the participation. It's going to take us a little while to get through all the questions. I think that's phenomenal. So thanks for writing in for sure. And you can find our show notes and links to today's guests on our website, dressageradio.com. Like us on Facebook, just search Dressage Radio Show. Follow us on Twitter at Horse Radio. My website is maplecrestfarmky.com, and my email is reese@horseradionetwork.com.
You can find me at philipparksequestrian.com, and my email is philip@horseradionetwork.com. I'd like to thank our sponsors for allowing us to put on a great show. And don't forget to check out all the other shows on the Horse Radio Network at horseradionetwork.com.
Everybody, keep your heels down and your shoulders back, and we'll talk to you in 2 weeks. Next week is Para, so enjoy the show.